There's a moment, and I think most of us know it, where you finally get the thing you spent months, maybe years wanting. The job, the relationship, the house, the number in your bank account, and you sit there waiting to feel something. And the feeling either doesn't come at all, or it comes and it disappears so fast, you almost wonder if you imagined it. That's not a personal failure. That's not ingratitude. That is one of the oldest, most documented, most quietly devastating patterns of human psychology. And the Stoics, writing over 2,000 years ago, saw it more clearly than most modern therapists do today. Music. Here's the real question. Not why don't we get what we want, but why do we keep wanting things that deep down we already know won't satisfy us? Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man alive. He commanded armies. He had access to every luxury the ancient world could offer. And yet he wrote privately in a journal he never intended for anyone else to read that most of what men chase is empty. He didn't write that with smugness. He wrote it like a man reminding himself of something he kept forgetting. Music, over and over again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Music. He wasn't preaching. He was fighting the same pull we all feel. And he kept losing. And he kept writing it down again. That's the music part nobody talks about. Stoicism isn't a cure. It's a practice. A daily argument you have with the part of yourself that is convinced the next thing will finally be the thing. So where does this pattern come from? The mind doesn't run on logic. It runs on contrast. It runs on the gap between where you are and where you imagine you could be. Desire isn't really about the object. It's music. It's about the movement, the reaching, the anticipation. There's actual neurochemistry behind this. Your brain releases dopamine not when you get something, but when you expect to get it. The reward isn't in the having, it's in the hunting. Which means the moment you stop hunting, the moment you arrive, the system shuts off. The excitement collapses. And almost immediately, without even realizing it, your mind starts scanning the horizon for the next thing to want. Epictetus understood this. Born a slave, he had nothing. And from that position of having nothing, he developed one of the most radical frameworks for human freedom ever written. He said, the source of all suffering is simple. We treat things outside our control as if they're inside it. The outcome of our ambitions, the approval of other people, the permanence of what we build. We stake our happiness on things that were never ours to keep. And then we are shocked when they shift. But here's where it gets uncomfortable, because it's easy to hear that and nod music and feel wise. The real thing Epictetus was pointing music at is something most of us don't want to look at directly. The reason we keep chasing things we don't actually want is that we are afraid of the alternative. Music. Being still, being present, being okay with what already is. That is for most people far more frightening than any ambition. Ambition music is easy to understand. It gives you forward motion. It gives you an identity. I am someone who is working towards something. It gives you a reason to not examine whether the life you're already living is the life you actually want. The chase keeps you busy. The chase keeps you from the silence where the harder questions live. Seneca wrote something music that cuts right through this. He said, most people don't live their lives. They postpone them. They say, when I have this, I'll be ready to start. When this happens, then I'll be content. Music. Then I'll slow down. Then I'll be present. And they do this for decades. And then one day they look up and the life they were saving themselves for never got lived. That sentence should land like a punch because it's not abstract. Look at your own life, right? Music now. What are you postponing? What are you treating as the waiting room for your real life? The Stoics weren't anti-ambition. Music. That's a misreading. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. They worked. Music they built. They pursued. The difference was in the relationship to the outcome. Music. They tried imperfectly, constantly, with repeated failure. To do the work without being owned by the result. To want things without needing them. To aim without becoming music desperate. That's a razor-thin distinction, and it's everything. Because the problem isn't wanting things. Desire is human. It's the wiring we were born with. The problem is the belief underneath the desire. The belief that says, I will be okay once this happens. Music, I will be whole once I have this. I am incomplete right now. And the missing piece is out there somewhere. And if I just work hard enough or get lucky enough or music become enough, I will finally feel like I've arrived. That belief music is a lie, a well-dressed, culturally enforced, completely understandable lie, music, but a lie. And here's the cruel irony. The things we chase hardest are usually not the things we actually value. We chase status because we want respect, but respect can't be chased. We chase money because we want security, but security is a feeling, and no number creates it permanently. We chase other people's approval because we want to feel like we matter. But borrowed confidence rots. It always has an expiration date. What the Stoics kept circling back to in different words across different centuries is that the life you are waiting to feel worthy of is the life you are already living. The present moment isn't the obstacle. It isn't the waiting room. It is the whole thing. And you can spend it reaching outward, always one step behind the thing you think will music complete you. Or you can turn your attention inward, not to become passive, not music to give up, but to get honest about what you actually want underneath all the noise. That's the work, not the hustle. Music, not the next goal. The honest answer to the question, what would you want if you stopped wanting what you thought you were supposed to want? Most people never ask it because the answer is both simpler and more demanding than any ambition they've ever had. And the Stoics knew that, which is why they kept writing it down, not for us, for themselves. Music. Because knowing the truth and living the truth are two completely different things. And the gap between them, that music gap, is where all of this begins.